Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in always sunny Santa Cruz. And it was a fantastic day today. We got a full house tonight, and we have got an action-packed show. Can't wait to get into it. You'll notice Liza isn't here. We're going to get into that in a little while. But first, who is in the house? Well, I am about to tell you who's in the house. In no particular order. It's Brian. Say hello.
How are you guys?
We're doing great, Brian. It's lovely to have you in the studio. Sitting next to me and looking devilishly handsome, it's Henry. Hello, Henry.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. Working the board and being mightily bored with it as well. It's Johnny.
What's up, nerds?
That's not very nice, Johnny. And sitting on the classy girl couch, the classiest of them all, it's Mycah.
Yo.
Wiki. You've got something to talk about tonight.
Oh, yes, I
do. Yes, you got things to talk about. Sitting next to Mycah, first time on the show. I'm absolutely thrilled.
And a podcast virgin.
Yeah, podcast virgin. So be kind to him, people. It's Keith.
Thank you. I am excited to be part of my first ever podcast.
All right. Cool. Sitting to Keith's left, traumatized from his breakdown on the naked ride. Dima. Hello, darling.
I suddenly want to know what the breakdown was, because if it's naked, I'm thinking other things breaking down. But
yeah, no, it wasn't a breakdown of that stuff. It was a breakdown of motorcycling, and we're going to talk about that in about. I couldn't introduce Mycah without introducing Charley as well. Hello, Charley.
It is also my first time here.
Oh, you are so full of shit, Charley. It's untrue.
Yeah.
Sitting by an open window, there's an enormously good reason for that. Wearing a robo hand. It's Cat.
Ride the dream.
Yes. All those things. And coming to us from his luxury workshop in Velveeta, Oregon, it's the Bageler.
It is I, Bagel the welder.
Really?
Ooh.
Yes.
Really?
I've been taking classes.
Did you get welded? Who was the minister?
Not that kind of welding.
Oh.
The metallic kind.
Oh, very good. Gluing metal together.
Boring.
Yes, and I just picked up a TIG welder this week.
Oh, very good. Tungsten
Yes.
inert gas, no less.
Indeed.
Very good. How's the
excited.
weather in Velveeta?
Oh, we got some snow this week for the first time this winter, but that's all gone now. It's back to being dreary and rainy again.
Okay, well, it was a lovely sunny day in Santa Cruz. Ha, 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 ha,
Nice.
So, we had quite a busy day at the garage today. I always like to start off. Oh, I tell you what I was going to do. I was going to tell you where Liza is, because you will have noticed that Liza's not here. And she's here, but she's not here. So, those who have listened to the show for a great many years will know that Liza was part of the Women Rider World Relay, which is, how many years ago was that now, Mycah?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 2019?
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think so.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
She said it finished just as the shutdown started.
Right.
Yep.
So Haley Bell, who was instrumental in setting up the Women Rider World Relay, is actually visiting California with her darling daughter, who is 1 year old.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, Liza's doing baby things, because, any time that Liza gets to be Uncle Liza is happy time for her. So Liza's doing baby stuff, and I get to run the show, which means everybody has to do exactly what I say.
That is not what we agreed to.
Yeah, it is exactly what you agreed to, Charley. Don't make me come over there.
So that's why you sent me those suspenders.
Yes, exactly.
I did
Them
consent
things.
to this.
Yeah, Henry did. Henry's always compliant, aren't you, darling? Anyway, we had quite a busy day at the garage today. There was lots of stuff going on, lots of oil changes going on. The person I really want to talk to about today is Mycah, because you rode. Is this your first 4-cylinder bike that you've ridden?
Not my first 4-cylinder, but the first time I've ridden a Gixxer.
And you were quite smitten, weren't you?
I really expected to hate it. I dragged my feet about getting on the bike. Henry's been asking me to ride it for quite a while, and I've always thought, oh, I'm never going to be a sick jigsaw bra. And then I rode it, and I was like, wow, I get it.
Well, if the jigsaw was a person, it would be propped up at a bar, drunk, hitting on the opposite sex and making a total pest of themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's what a jigsaw is.
But they're also hot.
Yeah.
But exactly. And they're just so great to ride.
Charley was asking me yesterday. We were on our KLR 250. I was on the KLR 250, and he was like, "Doesn't this bike make you want to do like certain things on motorcycles?" And I was like, "You know what? I never really get that feeling. I ride a bike, and I just want to do whatever type of riding I generally want to do anyway. Lots of twisties, regardless of the motorcycle that I'm on." And I got on the Gixxer, and I was like, "Oh, I want to be a different kind of rider on this bike."
I want to break the law.
Yeah, exactly.
And I kind of lament.
Want to put on a mohawk.
It's that kind of bike. And I kind of lament the fact that the manufacturers are getting away from the four-cylinder platform.
Yeah.
The Gixxer was everything 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got my start in motorcycling in the 70s, everything was four-cylinder. Everything. You could buy anything from a 354 all the way to 1,000 and beyond. And everything was four-cylinder if you wanted it. Yes, there were twins too, and yes, there were triples too. But the norm was the four-cylinder. And I know it's not for everyone. Four-cylinder bikes, when you're on the freeway, they always sound busy. Even the big ones, they always sound busy. They always sound like they're working far harder than they need to. But they're just that banshee scream of a four-cylinder hitting the red line is a noise that's kind of going away from motorcycling. And I think it's a damn shame.
I really like the sound of my quiet bikes. My MT-07 is very, very stock, and I love the quiet sound so I don't anger my neighbors. And then I got on the Gixxer, and I was like, ooh, I understand loud motorcycles in a way that I've not understood loud motorcycles before.
Well, because your bike's got an exhaust on it.
It has a Leo Vince, I believe.
Which is a
Leo
DOT
Vinci.
legal.
Well, it's not. It's not super loud, but Gixxers, there's always a lot of intake noise on them. There's always a lot of cam noise. There's always a lot of cam chain noise, and it all kind of works together. And it's really quite an exciting bike to ride, isn't it? You had a good time with it.
I really did. I smiled the whole time, and I smiled on my way back.
Going to get a four-cylinder bike now?
I am very much someone who has a bike for a purpose, and it doesn't meet any need that I don't already have met currently. So
She needs a track
Hey,
bike.
there's
I
always
have a track bike.
Yeah, we both have track bikes,
She
but
needs
there's
another
always room for a Gixxer in the garage.
Always room. And
Come on, that fills its own role.
and the best news is, and I mean, here, this might be a Misfits top tip. Look around your local paper. Look around, the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist for a cheap Gixxer. There's tons out there.
I want Emma's top tips on how to find a Gixxer that hasn't been thrashed.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's the problem.
I was going to say, yeah, they're great bikes, but they're all totaled.
Yeah, it's or the engines are just like on their last legs or whatever. But it's something that everyone should experience. Like I say, it's getting really, really hard to find middleweight four-cylinder bikes these days.
Well, and a lot of your, high CC sport bikes, they're not very comfortable in the street. They're really more of a track riding position.
Right.
Gixxer, you sit up a little more upright. It's comfortable. You could actually kind of almost tour on it. It's much more comfortable to ride than your more dedicated track bikes.
We've obviously ridden different Gixxers because I haven't ridden one at 6 foot tall that was comfortable for touring.
Yeah, I mean, the Gixxers they're not as compact as the R series. An R6 is a compact bike, and an early R1 is like really compact.
Strangely enough, the R6 has a higher seat height.
Yeah, but it's like you're scrunched a little. I always found Gixxers to be quite roomy for me, but I've got kind of a long torso and short legs, so it suits me fine.
I remember the old oil cooleds. I had a 92 the last year of the oil cooled.
Yeah, slingshot.
That layout, the tank was like 14 feet long.
Yeah.
And I could just put a tank bag on it and lay on it and drive it for like 12 hours in a row. Never get tired.
That is my absolute favorite incarnation of the Gixxers, because they started off there with the Slabbies, which was the 80s bikes, and right at the tail end of the 80s, 89, 90, 91, you had the Slingshot with the little nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, those were good
I
bikes.
was really impressed with this, with the Gixxer. When I got on the bike, I immediately had to scoot back a little bit more than I expected. That's really uncommon for me. A lot of bikes have longer tanks for me. Like trying the Pan America, I really disliked because I was so far bent over the tank in order to get my body forward enough where I could have my elbows bent appropriately. I just felt really uncomfortable with it. With the Gixxer, having to scoot back a little bit is a really unusual experience for me as someone with a shorter torso. And I loved that I was forced forward in a different way that I am on many, many motorcycles. I always struggle with tank length when looking for bikes.
Yeah.
Tra-la-la, you heard it here first. Gixxers, that might be the best sport bike ever.
Get yourself a 750, not a 600.
Oh.
My
Yeah,
Ninja 300
I mean-
wants to fight you about best sport bike ever, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
we
but
can have
it's-
that conversation another time.
It's easier to race in the 600 class than a non-existent 750 class. That's the
Right.
only reason to buy the 600.
Right, and that's true. Anyway, enough talk about Gixxers. Brian, you haven't been on the either down to the garage or on the podcast in a while. You showed up on a new bike, didn't you?
I did.
You pretty much sold your soul,
I did.
and you bought a
BMW.
BMW,
R1300 GSA.
which has
How-
got all the bells and whistles.
How big is the tank on that thing? Can you go to Seattle on
It's
a
like
single tank of
At
gas?
least 2 gallons.
7.9.
Good Lord. And, you know, I'm struck. When I was looking at that bike, it's how purposeful it's become, because it's got an integrated tank bag now.
Right.
And it's got lockers either side of the fuel tank, which are kind of built in, right? Hasn't it got, like, flaps or just...
No, it doesn't.
Well, it's like hard points on top of the tank for strapping shit down.
It's on the side, but
Yeah.
that's to set your Starbucks on those little
I see.
serving areas.
You know, I used to have an old GS 1100 Suzuki, and the headlight was like a little shelf,
Right,
and it was
right.
perfect for that. But we were talking, because it's not a squatty bike,
It's not. It doesn't have adaptive suspension.
right? But the one I rented for Castles and Curves this was a squatty bike. But it's got everything else. It's got the adaptive cruise control, which is a bit of a trip, isn't it?
Yeah, and the adaptive cruise, I didn't like it so much in Italy where it was tight. There's no freeways to really use it. But on the freeways here, it actually makes you a safer rider, because if you're not paying attention, the bike can't hit anything, right? It even applies the brakes. And with the new cruise, you can actually downshift while it's decelerating.
And it won't cut the cruise out.
No.
Oh, that is why.
So you can actually follow a car off a exit ramp and it'll slow down the whole way.
Yeah.
Like the only thing you have to do is make sure it doesn't stall by
This
put it in the right gear and then
That's-
pull the clutch and then put your foot down.
perfect for stalking people, isn't it?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And Henry, so you showed up on the Gixxer. We already established that. What did you do to the Gixxer today?
I just did an basic oil change
Okay.
on it.
But this is pretty much your dedicated track bike, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. I want to get the Hawk GT that you did some engine work on back up and running, but I have a little bit of a coolant.
When you broke it already.
No, it has a coolant leak somewhere. I'm still trying to fix it.
Not from the engine,
The
I hope.
short
Not from
answer
the-
is yes, he broke it already.
Jesus Christ, Henry.
But the Gixxer was my dedicated track bike last season. I picked it up from a friend of mine who was moving out of state. It was an actual former race bike, not just a track bike,
Right.
it was used in races before, which is why there's epoxy and zip ties everywhere.
Yeah, I noticed
on it.
that.
But it's a fantastic bike, and it's actually a pretty good street bike, all things considered.
Yeah, and I noticed it's got the stomp grips on the tank, which is like gluing yourself to the tank.
Yeah,
when
it's
you...
really nice, actually.
Okay, very good. Johnny,
Yes.
you were actually working on your dad's old Harley today as
just
well.
trying to go through it and make sure it's good to go. I don't think it's been serviced in a very long time, so just trying to make sure everything's up to date.
Yeah, and you did the primary oil and plugs and wires,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Okay.
It's kind of fun to work on, actually. It's simple.
Yeah.
And it's kind of refreshing. Everything's right there, so you don't have
Right.
to dig into stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to pull like 12 pieces of plastic off and then break half of them.
Exactly.
And try to zip tie them back on.
Run out of the little plastic holder things.
Right.
Yeah.
With the plastic fasteners that always break.
Oh, they're horrible.
Oh, yeah. Well, and as soon as they get a bit of age to them,
The
they
top tip, you can buy a bag of those and they're not expensive. So just do that.
The push pins?
Yeah.
Before you work on the bike.
Or get yourself some American Iron, brother.
Yeah.
God.
Hell yeah.
Can't brake, can't turn.
Yes. Charlie, did you do anything to your bike this week?
I rode it.
Well, that's what they're for, right?
Got yourself in a little bit of trouble.
I did
didn't
not get into any trouble. I had a very informative stop with a park ranger.
Exactly after I said don't do that, he did it and got pulled over.
I was on a dirt road and there was a little side established trail that I went and did the little single track on the Super 10. It was great.
Okay, he describes this way chiller than it was. It
okay,
was a
Mycah, you're going to take over from this point forward because I'm not sure whether we can rely on Charlie for truthful information. So go.
We decided to do a little bit of dirt riding because I hate dirt, but I know I need to do it to be a better rider. And so finally we decided to do a little tiny bit of a dirt road.
And you're on the KLR 250,
I was on
right?
the KLR 250.
What a great little bike to do dirt on.
It's great. Her name is Barbie. I love her.
As it should be.
Yeah, she's
it's the perfect
blue
color.
and Barbie pink. She's beautiful.
And white.
Yeah, beautiful. Love
and
that
he's
bike.
on the Super 10?
He's on the Super 10. And so we're putting along and we're talking via our comms a little bit and Charlie goes, I'm going to do this on the Super 10 and there is on the side of a mountain like a tiny little bit of a goat trail off the side. It was very obviously this is not the road.
Yeah, I had like brushes hitting my levers and stuff and I was like, I really hope they're not solid.
And previously we had said, I think that's a cop behind us. And he said, I think it's a construction truck. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I said, don't do that. And he said, I'm going to do it. And I said, I'm going to keep going. And so I kept going. And then he started going and I saw lights turn on behind me and I said, I told you so. I'm still going.
They were yellow light.
But they lit you up pretty much the moment you got off road. He lit you up.
Yeah, and then he was
beautiful to see as a I told you so. Oh my God.
In the intercom, I just hear like rider disconnected from Mycah.
So I kept going and I pulled over after a little while, took some pictures of the bike looking pretty around the corner, looking at the view and waited for him to come up and tell me he got a ticket.
Yeah. And
instead.
Yeah,
He didn't stay close enough that you could hear him getting out of it in the comm?
Absolutely not. I was like, you get to have this conversation on your own. And unfortunately, he did not get a ticket, so he did not learn his lesson.
Yeah, he was like, just, stay on the road.
But
on the other side of the trail, like on the exit of the little goat trail, there's a sign that says area closed. But so somebody had removed the sign saying you can't enter it from the other side. So I was like, there should be a sign on both sides. And he's like, yeah, people remove them.
Well, and he even helped Charlie remove a bush from his wheel.
It was great.
And then was just like, yeah, don't do that again.
Well, and then we had the whole conversation, like the road, we were going to just go up to where it turned private or whatever. And it not actually private. It's county all the way through. And people just put fake signs up there because they don't want you going through their property.
Which we didn't know. We had part of our conversation and our struggle with finding somewhere to do dirt around. I didn't want to go all the way to Hollister. And so this was a tiny little bit of dirt, but it was only a mile or two before the road has a bunch of private road signs on it. And so I, of course, don't want to ride on a private road. I don't want to get a ticket for trespassing. I always am concerned with...
You don't want to get shot.
Yeah,
well, I don't want to get shot.
Get on people's private property, the guns come out.
Absolutely.
But
yes,
it's
they do.
not a private road. It's a county road that they just put a sign up.
And that was really helpful for that conversation, which he was telling us that it's completely fine. Even the county road end signs that are up there are all fake signs that people just put up because they are growing out there and they don't want people riding on that road.
So I'm going to project a couple of months into the future and Charlie's probably going to get pulled over again. And the cop is going to say, where are you going in such a hurry? He says, I am going to attend a very stern lecture on safety and staying on the road and not breaking the law. And the cop's going to say, who's giving this lecture? Another policeman? He goes, no, my wife.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you managed to talk your way out of a ticket. Truthfully, Mycah, it's probably best that you didn't listen in because you don't know what deals were made or what compromises were compromised in getting him out of the ticket.
I mean...
Who made that noise?
This was a Ranger, so, Rangers are cool. So
Well, I mean, yes, but hopefully you were suitably humble. Before we move on to the crux of tonight's show, and I think the eagle-eyed listeners might get an idea of what it's going to be about tonight, I want to talk to Dima about the worst possible scenario.
What are you talking about? I have
Well,
no idea.
so look, every year we do the naked ride. I've done it many, many years, and unfortunately I was double scheduled this year. I was actually at the Injector Lounge at Redwood City having my lips inflated, getting the full Kim Kardashian while the naked ride was going on.
And they look so good.
Oh, they look really good.
Well, no, they're only half done.
Oh, that's why the bottom
they're
one's
just going to get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, they're just going to get bigger. I'm doing
Yeah.
full Kardashian. But I didn't go. But everybody, and I'm not going to say it's unprecedented because things have happened in the past. I remember Bex broke down in Pacific
She ran out of
Street.
gas.
She ran out of gas, which is classic Bex. What happened?
One could say it was my fault.
Yeah, come on, please tell us all.
Someone else could say it was the universe just playing a joke.
Yes.
But I haven't ridden my bike in like a few months.
Now, have you still got the BMW?
Yeah, it's the same bike.
650, right?
Yep. The F850 F800 ST.
Right.
And I haven't ridden it for a few months, and I'm running late. It's my first naked ride. I
Okay.
think Charlie said like 7 or something. It's like 6:50. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be late.
Right.
Bike doesn't start. So I jump it,
Right.
ride it around for about 10 minutes, get to the garage. I'm an hour early.
And then
So it's actually Charlie's fault.
It is.
No,
once I-
we tell everyone to meet at 7.
Oh,
but
wow.
Then you actually.
So
leave.
anyway,
But I was worried that maybe the bike won't start again. So the good tip was take your clothes off after the bike starts.
yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
So bike started just fine. So I'm like, okay, it's everything's good. I got a little voltmeter on the side.
Yes.
So we start riding, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cold.
And now you're naked,
I'm
but you were
naked.
boots, helmet,
Yeah.
gloves.
And we're going down Pacific. And
Yes.
I'm finally thinking, this is so fun. This is such a good time.
Yeah, it's
And-
quite liberating.
Yeah. And as I'm liberated and having a great time, I haven't ridden in a few months, so I stall the bike. And the bike doesn't turn back on again.
Oh,
And
nasty
I'm
business.
like, I'll just keep trying and it'll totally turn on again if I just keep trying.
And you're downtown. There's a bunch of people
Down-
so
watching.
you're on Pacific,
On
downtown.
Pacific,
Yep.
in the middle of Pacific.
Nice.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Everyone starts leaving too. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be alone here.
No, so we have a suite that is clothed or whatever, and I have started giving that person a bathrobe. So if someone breaks down or something, they could, give them something to wear, and so they're not just.
I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure how appropriate a bathrobe is on.
It's
You've got to
something-
make
it's
something
something-
really rude on
It's
the back.
something
yeah.
that anybody can put on without taking their boots, helmet, or gloves off.
So I want to say I was the chase truck basically for
Yep.
this. I took everyone's clothes to the spot we were ending the ride, and I knew something was wrong when our sweep came in first before everyone else, and it's like, oh fuck, what's happened now?
I was at home. I am a safety instructor, so don't participate in things where I'm not wearing my gear. And Charlie called me and he goes, yeah, Dima's gone. Oh no.
Forever?
Do you need me to take some clothes to him?
That was extra funny is, I guess first we tried to just jump start or push start the bike, but I kind of need new tires and it was raining. So the bike just slid. So it wouldn't even start doing that. So we thankfully pushed it out of the way. I went between two cars to hide. It's amazing. You feel way more naked standing still off your bike than you are going forward on your bike. You're almost clothed on your bike compared to how naked you feel.
Yeah,
off
I'd
the
like
bike.
to see someone say, "Can I get a jump?" as you're standing in the middle of the road naked. Hey, can I get a jump? Yeah,
So-
right.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got injured on the naked ride? So, I was riding my Moto Guzzi, and it was raining that year as well. So the seat was a little bit slippy, and I think I was adding to the lubrication as well. And I was riding down Pacific, and somebody jumped out in front of me to take a picture of head on. And I had to brake
It's like
quite
Group B
hard.
rally.
Yeah. And I had to brake quite hard, and I slid forward on the seat, and my knees touched the back of the cylinder head. So I got rug burns on both my knees. It's very painful, I can tell you.
And then you got mad at them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And lots of shouting going on. Anyway, well, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, I had a top case, which made me way more calm with my clothes in it. So worst case.
Right, so.
I didn't know about the robe, so I was like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
So you knew you were just a top case away from.
Yeah. And it's funny, what Mycah texted me, and I'm like, oh man, the whole gang is trying to fix this.
Well, it's nice when we come through as a team.
Yeah.
You know, no one left behind, all that good stuff.
Yeah, because it was almost like a good thing. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like everyone's like it's like a team effort.
That's why we always have sweeps on our rides.
Yeah.
Because if somebody breaks down, we can fucking help them.
Yeah.
Everyone's got
I will
your
say
ass,
I was
literally.
looking at Gamora's bike, which is a Ducati 950.
Yeah, super sport.
Yeah, and I was like, there's no place for me to sit on that.
Especially naked.
She's got a cap over her tail, so she doesn't have a passenger seat.
Exactly. It is every inch the one person bike. So there's no escape.
Yeah, you'd really rely on the robe she was carrying.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if ATCAT is the acronym for all the gear all the time,
yes,
what would be the acronym for none of the anything any of the time for the naked ride?
Narnia.
We wear boots and gloves.
Yeah.
You have a helmet.
And this is a long tradition that was originally hosted, I believe, by the Vampires and is still hosted by the Vampires, but it goes back many, many years. And it relies on a law that in Santa Cruz, remember, this is coastal California, it is not illegal to be naked. Now, there are rules attached. Obviously, you're on a motorcycle, so you have to wear a helmet. That's rule number one. Footwear is actually optional, but if you're smart, you're going to wear boots because, you know, it'd be so easy to injure yourself with a brake pedal or a gear shift.
Somebody's got to hide that spare key somewhere.
Yeah, and usually what most of us who do the naked ride will stick our driving license down in our boot, so we actually have our license with us. It's always smart to wear gloves, but being naked is actually not illegal. What is illegal if you draw attention to yourself? So don't rev your engine, no beep, 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 beep on the horn, no standing on the pegs and waving your junk.
Can you do the helicopter?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the helicopter's fine.
Right. But no waving your junk in front of somebody's face. You can't draw attention to yourself, but the actual act of being naked is completely legal.
I think that's pretty attention drawing. There'll be 20 bikes going down the road.
You can't be lewd.
The words are lewd and lascivious.
Yeah, lewd and lascivious behavior.
I think there's an area for interpretation there. So.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, we've had in the past, I think it was a substitute cop from Oakland who got a bit hot and bothered about it.
It was a CHP.
CHP guy who wasn't from the area.
Yeah.
But generally, the Santa Cruz PD, because they used to nakedness in this town. I mean, the UCSC still do a naked run.
With the first rain.
Yes, first rain.
The best part about the CHP pulling everyone over is, so CHP pulled everyone over.
And he started pulling keys.
And he started pulling keys, and that's why I mentioned the spare key in the boot, because one of the, I think, vampires on the ride, she had a spare key in her boot, so she just took that out and rode off.
Well, and this ride is at night. It's cold. It's supposed to be a polar bear storm, so it's freezing.
And then Santa Cruz PD rang him up and was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is legal. Let them go. Give them back their keys.
Well, and he's like, dude, they're all like naked. They're cold as fuck. Like they're going to get hypothermia sitting here while we sort this out. Let them go, you know.
And so it all worked out. Anyway, enough of the naked ride. Dima, I'm so glad you made it. Are you going to do another one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and the best part is, I thought maybe the battery was broken or something. No, bike's fine. Starts every time. Just that one time. Starts just fine. I didn't have the trickle charger or anything. It just worked after.
Your bike's fucking with you. So, on to the main crux of the show, and eagle-eared listeners will understand why we have Kat in the studio. We have Brian Honeycutt in the studio. We have Keith from Champions Riding School in the studio, and myself. What do we all have in common, aside from we're devastatingly good-looking examples of humanity?
Twice.
This is all dedicated to the Tripinar, which is a tour program that began because of the Misfits podcast.
Well, I'm going to let you take this for now because I mean, this was really your idea. I mean, I kind of nudged you a little bit.
But it was a challenge placed to me, by the Misfits, saying, hey, Cat, Laid Escapes runs these tours for track riders. And yeah, they're magnificent, but they're also kind of expensive. And I know they're expensive because I pay the bills. But what about a tour for the rest of us? What would you do? And so that placed the question, what would I do? Because I know how the rest of the tour industry runs. I could get into it for a long period of time about it, but for the most part, I wanted people to start riding like locals, staying where locals stay, riding the roads that locals ride. Because when you go on an organized motorcycle tour, a lot of times it's going from tourist attraction to tourist attraction. Right. Some of these are good, some of them are bad. But the tour is sold based upon you're going to go see this, you're going to go see this. And it's all about grabbing little snapshots that people would take if they were on a bus tour, saying, I saw this destination, and doing the tourist thing. Right. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted you to ride like local, because locals don't go to tourist traps. They go to great roads. But you have to go to a destination in a particular country that's dedicated to great riding.
Right. And so the original concept for the Misfits tour, as they used to be called, was born. And we've talked about it many times on the show in the past, but it's evolved in itself. And Brian's valuable here because you've actually been on a couple of these. And we're going to talk to Keith in a little while because the evolution of these tours is inextricably linked with Keith.
Yes, Yamaha Champions Riding School has become a key component.
So when we originally started, and I'll just jump in for a bit, we decided that because of the skills you needed to complete one of these tours, it would be a very, very good idea if you would complete a training course. And we found that the Yamaha Champion training course, which you'd used previously, really was very, very good at hitting the points that would enable you to complete a trip. Because basically, we want everyone to have a good time. We don't want anyone to wrap themselves around a lamppost. We don't want anyone to have a crash because it wrecks everyone's day.
Yes.
We don't want anybody necessarily getting arbitrary speeding tickets, although some people get them once in a while. So we needed a training course. You'd used Champion in the past, and we said, well, it's going to be an option. Then, based on our experience, because the trips themselves are evolving, we said, okay, it's no longer an option. You have to graduate this course before you can go on one of our trips. Right. And that's not us being mean. You just have to.
Yeah, we wanted people to give the drills, the concepts that they would be going through so that they could prepare for the tour ahead of time, because we're taking people on roads that can't be replicated in the United States. You can't do this in a parking lot.
Now, so Brian, you've done one of the very early tours, and then you were with us again last year, which was one of the more evolved tours, and you brought your sweetie with you, who's nowhere near as experienced on a bike as you. What's been your experience with these tours? Have they worked for you? Because I know you always wax lyrical afterwards, and you say, this is great. I had such a good time.
Yeah, it's a well-ran program. I mean, but the Yamaha Champ School, you're paying for it anyways. If you don't take it and apply it to your riding, you're foolish. I mean, the riding over in Europe it can be aggressive. It's challenging, and we're kind of different here in California. The rest of the country I don't think ride as aggressively as we do in lane split. But and the drivers over there, they're good drivers, but they don't really care about you one way or the other, right? In California, I tend they're very good, courteous drivers to motorcyclists. They pull over and stuff. So there's none of that in Europe. But there's they're old roads. There's tight roads. So you got to be really familiar with the bike control.
Right. So the trips themselves have evolved over the years, and we're going into year 4 now.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool for the Misfits tours. I know it's like year 15 for you, isn't it, for these tours overall? But we're just talking about the Misfits tours and tripping ours. So what's the next level?
Well, the next thing is to finally introduce this to the public, saying, okay, we've been working on this for the past couple of years. We've refined it. Now it's time to launch this as a product that is ready to be sold, if you will, to the general riding public of the United States. It's primarily meant for United States riders to get them out of the country, to not be intimidated by foreign travel. Ultimately, the tour is meant to show you how you can ride Europe on your own, right? Because it's not that hard.
No,
you can do it.
And my ideal client for one of these tours is somebody who's got a little bit of experience on a bike, because you will need it. I mean, you need to know how to handle a bike and how to handle a certain kind of bike, but it's maybe never left America before. Has never ordered a cup of coffee in a different language before, or never walked into a little cafe before, or seen the Alps, or seen the Dolomites, or because it is so different. It is just so different. And that's my ideal client. So now, the latest evolution, we're going to bring in Keith, because now, rather than do Champ U School,
everyone's still doing Champ U School. That's part of the program.
But we've gone beyond that now as well.
Now we are bringing a guest Yamaha Champions Riding School instructor on each one of the tripreneurs. Not to do your training. You need to do your training and practice before you come. Right. You need to take Champ U before you come and practice. But what they can do is they can be right behind you on the radio comm saying, okay, good. Where's your head? Okay, head up a little bit. Good, good. You can see riders everything starts to click together as a coach is right behind them, giving them real-time feedback. And the rider improvement is phenomenal from the morning to the afternoon. It's great to watch somebody completely go to a different level of their riding and just be absolutely overjoyed that, okay, now I get it. Now I understand. Oh, that's how I can be smoother in a hairpin. They'll get a couple of hairpins that they did just right, and they're bouncing up and down, at the lunch stop because they figured it out.
And I think this is pretty unique in the industry now, what we're actually offering. And I want to make it clear, we've got something for everyone. I wouldn't want anyone to think, oh, I'm too intimidated. I need to be too good a rider for this. I just want to cruise around and see the sights. And that's why I'm here. Well, because we have something for everyone.
The problem, the reason most people won't take a motorcycle tour is because either one, they think it's going to go too slow and they're going to be frustrated out of their mind. And people have been on these motorcycle tours. This is one of the reasons why track riders can't take a regular motorcycle tour. They will be bored out of their skull.
Right. Not on one of our trips.
Right. And the other converse reason that people don't take a motorcycle tour is they're afraid it's going to go too fast.
Right.
And they're going to be scared or at least embarrassed most of the tour. And so our solution for this is to break people up into squadrons.
Right.
Based upon your desired pace. You don't follow the tour guide. You've got the GPS loaded. Everyone takes turns being the leader or the sweep or the navigator. You don't have to follow the tour guide. And everybody can stay at about 80% of their abilities, and everyone's talking the same YCRS language about how, what happened to you? Oh, I didn't brake early enough. I should have trail braked into that turn longer, or whatever. They're all speaking the same language, and so they're helping each other on the ride of that day, and they're going within their abilities. And they're having a good time. This sounds like, this is a big, training seminar and everyone's working. No, this is actually ridiculous good fun.
Oh, it's super fun. And, traditionally, I will always lead the slowest group, who end up not necessarily being the slowest group. I lead Gold Squadron, which are theoretically the least experienced riders, perhaps the more timid riders. And I always stress the value of talking to one another on the headset.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of chatting on the headset, which really adds to it because you go, oh, look here. Speed camera coming up.
Oncoming bus.
Yeah, oncoming bus. You're safe to overtake. All of these things. So we actually really enjoy the
They're always the most improved group also.
Right.
Yes.
And, well, for whatever reason, generally we get to where we're going first. I'm not sure how that happens.
Even when Emma decides to do the loop backwards, just for the hell of it.
No, Gold Squadron is usually supposed to be the slowest group, but the reason they get to the hotel first is because they work together more.
Right.
and they are less, everyone agrees. Oh, no. What do you see on the on the GPS? It says turn left. What does yours say? Oh, mine says turn left. And wait, no, okay, let's all agree. We're all going to turn left. Everyone's communicating and staying together as a pack. Whereas you're more, experienced, where it's like, oh, I don't need to watch this. And all of a sudden they'll miss a turn. And then everyone's lost and everyone's, where did we go wrong? And, and that's where they get delayed, even though they're the faster riders.
Right.
It's Gold Squadron that carefully, it's because they're nervous and a little bit concerned that they pay more attention and they communicate.
Right. It's all about communication, which is going to be how and why I introduce Keith. So Keith has, you're one of the movers and shakers of Champion Riding School. I want to talk a little bit about you as well, because you've been around bikes for
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks, haven't you? So, who the hell are you? Who are you? Who are you, Keith? Tell me who you are, darling.
I am nobody.
You know you.
Oh, well, that goes back. So I'm one of the partners for the school, and it gets a little confusing with all the different names, right? There's the YCRS, Yamaha Champions Riding School, Champ School, Champ U. So I figured I'll just start off kind of explaining what that is. We own a couple of different companies that are all related to motorcycle training.
Right.
Champions Riding School is our retail facing track school mostly. It's called Yamaha Champions Riding School, sponsored by Yamaha. That is what we've been known for over 20 years. Started as the Freddie Spencer School way back when.
And I was going to say, that is the old Freddie Spencer School. And he actually founded it because Freddie, God bless him, was vehemently involved with safety on the track, safety on the street.
Exactly.
And he put his money where his mouth is, right?
Yeah, when Freddie retired, he basically said, I want to start a riding school for two reasons. Number one, students need to understand the physics of how a motorcycle works.
Right.
So once they understand that, then when you teach them what to do, they know the why. Freddie was all about the why. And the second part of it was Americans are taught they're to be scared of the front brake and not to trail brake. And he traveled the whole world and found that pretty much the rest of the world rides motorcycles better than we do. And the crux of what he found was he needs to get everybody trail braking. That was like a big thing. So those are the two reasons he started the school. His first hire was Nick Einach, who most know as a famous pro racer and a journalist. And Nick was the genius behind being able to put everything into a curriculum and verbiage that anybody could understand.
Right.
Like, he's a brilliant communicator. So they ran that thing together forever. And then when Freddie decided to totally retire, Nick turned it over and turned it into the Yamaha Champions Riding School.
And then you come along.
Yeah, 2014, when it closed down in Utah and Miller, Mr. Miller passed away and the school kind of got pushed to the wayside. Doesn't make as much money as cars.
What's your background with motorcycles?
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious question because you go back away with
couple weeks, I said.
Yeah.
I just knew it this.
When did you start riding bikes?
My 10th birthday, my grandmother gave me $50. And in 1980 or whatever, that's pretty damn big money. So my dad and I were out doing our usual Saturday flea market and garage sale hopping, which we used to always do.
God,
and
was it a Z50?
It was a 1976 Suzuki TS50.
Oh, that's a good start.
It looked like a full-size bike with blinkers and like an enduro, like a scrambler. But it was like, okay, well, it didn't run. It had a stripped-out Kickstarter. And the battery and everything was all fried. So my dad bought the manual and we basically taught ourselves how to rebuild the electrical system so it would run off the magneto. You knew more than I do. So you knew that. So you had to push start it every time. There was no such thing as kickstarting it.
Yeah.
And it ran off the magneto. And I got my start riding about 9 or 10 years old for my birthday.
Now, did your dad have any background in motorcycling, or was it just something he thought, I can bond with my son?
No, my dad always rode in college.
Right.
I think rode for a long time. My dad used to take me to football practice wearing full gear and my football helmet on the back of his 1972 Honda 350 Twin.
Okay.
Sound about right? Yep.
Now, so we've got this young kid. Any resistance from your mum? No. So, I mean, you were in the motorcycling.
Even though she still has a big scar on the inside of her calf
from
where my dad tipped over in the dirt once with her on the back.
Right. Isn't that great when you get support of your parents? So that was your first. So 1970, I'm just trying to think of what your bikes were. Well, Gixxers, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I had to be 18 in New Jersey to get a motorcycle endorsement.
Right.
And the first bike was an 86 Ninja 600, the first year with the full fairings.
Yes.
Rode that back and forth to work, all the twisty roads, everything I could think of. Absolutely fell in love with riding sport bikes. And also I lived at the Jersey Shore, and that was about the time where you could go down to the boardwalk and hang out on the side with a spare helmet, and girls would get out of Mustangs and get on the back of your bikes. So I always kind of say dirt bikes and Daisy Duke are my first love, but street bikes, I literally started riding them just to pick up chicks.
Yeah. Because
I couldn't do it with my looks, so I had to find some way to do it.
A lot of guys did back then because and that Ninja 600 was very, very interesting because that was one of the first of the new generation sport bikes. The 900 actually beat it by about 6 months, which is the Tom Cruise bike.
And it wasn't fully faired, though.
Yes, it was kind of, it had that gap in the middle.
Yeah.
And they had a belly pan, they had the top of a fairing. But then
it was a bikini instead of a full one piece.
But then the 600 came out. And it had everything, and it looked like nothing else. Now, in England, we didn't get those even in green. They were red and silver and black. That's the only color they came in.
Red, black, and white, maybe a little blue or something.
Yeah. But great looking bike and pretty much unbeatable in that class.
So how did the training thing, how did you get hooked up with?
So you're monkeying around with sport bikes.
Because initially it doesn't sound like you're being very safe at all, but suddenly you became dedicated to safety.
Well, I suspect that came later.
It's an evolution, like everything else, right? You go street riding, you're riding around in the back roads. We used to go to Pocono Speedway to watch the races. We were a cycle jam. And so all the guys from the Jersey Shore, because eventually we all got bikes because they all wanted to pick up girls too. So we'd ride, take the twisty roads up to the Speedway to watch, and we'd always meet up with other people on sport bikes. And at one point we were doing some twisty roads, and I naturally had a knack for it, and I was kind of always at the front. And we get to the track one day, and we meet this guy, and he's on the ZX7, which to me was like, that was the bike, right?
That's the bike.
And he's like, dude, you're pretty good at this. You should race. I'm like, how the hell am I going to do that? So he gave me all the down low on how to go racing, and there was no such thing as track days at the time. So I said, okay. So I went and took the Team Suzuki Endurance Riding School, Team Hammer.
So
David Aldana was my first coach.
And I'm thinking this was probably what, 92? 93?
94 is the one. The school started before that, but when I did it, it was 94 because I had the 92 oil-cooled Gixxer.
Right.
And then I got a 93 ZX7, which had the single ram air. And that was the bike that I was going to go racing with. And I took this Suzuki school. I had to pay for it because I didn't get it free with my Suzuki, but I got to take it on my 93 ZX7, but in 94.
Okay. And so now you're on the track.
Yeah, and absolutely fell in love with it. The guys at the track, they kind of took me under their wings because I guess I was pretty good at it. I rode and raced dirt bikes my whole life, so picked up on the motorcycle pretty quick. So the instructors there were like, oh, this guy's kind of more fun to ride with because I could go. So, trust me, now as an instructor, it's more fun to go ride with the fast guys than it is. It's just fun. So they kind of took me under their wing, and we just started cruising around and going pretty quick. And when I went racing, I literally won 4 out of 4 races my first weekend racing.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so have you stayed with motorcycling all your adult life, or was there a period when you were away from it?
I sold in 97 when I went racing. I only raced for 1 year.
Yeah,
I was great on that first weekend. And then at the end of the year, you realize I got no money. I'm a credit card debt up to my eyeballs, and I knocked up my girlfriend. So I had to stop that. So I sold the bike the year after, got my shit together, got a real job. For 6 months, I went on a motorcycle, and then I bought a house.
Right.
And then things started coming together, and then I got a dirt bike again to get myself back into motorcycling, and eventually back into the street.
So you've never really been away from it?
Not since I'm 10 years old.
So what drew you, so going back to Kat's question, what drew you to training, and when did that start?
Well, once I realized that I was not in the right tax bracket to become bracket to be a motorcycle racer,
right?
I kind of gave it up. I literally sold everything. I'm done. I'm just going to go ride in the dirt. And in 2010, 8 or something like that, they opened up New Jersey Motorsports Park, which is kind of my backyard, hour and change from my house. I went there and watched them build it when it was dirt all the way up till it was done. And I was like, holy crap, I can't have a track in my backyard and not get into it again. So I bought a used bike off of a friend of mine, had my life have gotten back together, being responsible, being an adult, paying my child support, doing all that stuff. And bought a bike and I went racing. And I was okay.
What was that bike, Keith?
It was a 2006 GSXR 600. So I wasn't quite as good as I was back in the 90s when I didn't have any responsibilities. And I was like, okay, I was a top 10 guy, but it really wasn't the fun that I had when I was winning. Trust me, winning and running at the front is way more fun than just getting into the top 10. So I gave it up and I started doing track days and then right away started coaching. And I really got the bug for helping others. I knew that I couldn't do it, but if I could help other people do it, I found out to be just as rewarding it was doing it myself.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
And at some stage you moved from the East Coast over to the West Coast because you're in Paso Robles now, aren't you?
Yeah. 10 years in California now. The coach thing turned into an interesting segue because a friend of mine ran what I consider the best mini club for kids in the United States, New Jersey Mini GP. And these guys put on such a good show. But at a certain point, the kids would get into a certain age till they would age out of the mini bikes. And he would actually give them to me and say, hey, I entrust you. Can you teach them the big track on the big bikes?
So, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by this mini bike. What are they riding? Literally mini bikes?
There was kids as tiny, I don't remember the age requirements, the minimum, but there's little kids on PW 50s going out, Z50s, all the way up to like what I guess now a Valley is the popular one. It was YSRs back then, and NSR 50s were really popular. Also, like XR 100s and the 150s, the CRFs, they would just put street tires on those things and go out and run them on a mini track. And man, these kids are so good. By the time they get to me, I got them for about a year of coaching before they're kicking my ass.
Just fearless.
And I ran it. I got lucky. I found a sponsor that could help financially. And we started sponsoring the kids and then sending them out to Miller in Utah to do the Yamaha Champions Riding School when I knew nothing about them.
Right.
And then it all kind of accumulated at that time when Miller was going to go out. The school was out. It wasn't going to happen anymore. We bought the school. We brought it to New Jersey, and this group of kids that were coming up from the minis became the first riders. And almost all of them went pro. A couple of them went to Europe, Red Bull Rookies Cup. So the success rate was really, really high from this program. And I got to be I got invited to become an owner or partner in the Yamaha Champions Riding School.
So you're living in New Jersey. The school is in New Jersey. It's enormously successful. Sounds like you've got your life together. What? California?
It gets cold in New Jersey and you can't make any money after October.
Right.
So if it wasn't for the West Coast, we wouldn't have made it through the first year of being in business.
Right.
Yeah.
So you opened a second school on the West Coast?
Same school's second location. So Chris Paris, which was Nick Einoch's protege. Thank you. Protege coming up, amazing racer out of Canada, national champion. He was doing a private school in Arizona at this wonderful place called Indy Motorsports Ranch, private facility outside of Tucson. And Chris was one of our instructors. And he said, guys, I do training all year long in Arizona. Put that fleet in a truck, bring it to Arizona, and let's keep working on it over the winter. So we did for the first year. And now all of a sudden we looked at each other and said, oh shit, we can actually make this a full-time business. We can actually run this. So Chris folded his school into ours, became a partner, and we started running East Coast all summer long, West Coast all winter long. And it just kind of grew from there. Now we're all over the country.
Oh, fantastic.
Right, there's one thing that I've always been kind of curious about because I've done a lot of different motorcycle training programs. And the one thing that I've really enjoyed them out of Yamaha Champions Riding School, outside of the curriculum, is the lack of bullshit ego.
Yeah.
Why is it that YCRS has ingrained throughout its culture of, we're a bunch of guys who ride. We just happen to be better than you, and we're here to help.
I'm going to jump in here before Keith actually says anything, because last year, Kat said, this year is going to be different. We're going to actually have Keith come out from Champion Riding School. My heart sank. God, fuck. We're going to have this guy who trains people how to ride bikes, he's going to be so full of himself. He's going to be absolutely insufferable. I'll probably stand about 5 minutes of this guy because, guys with ego and me do not get on. And I thought I was going to have a lousy time. And Keith is the most personable guy. And you were absolutely everything I wasn't expecting. And yes, that's part of your character, but bear in mind, you teach people how to race motorcycles. That has to be part of the culture of the school as well, to have this very, very low-key, I'm not saying it's self-deprecating, but, it's not an ego thing at all. It's just presented as, this is what you must do to keep yourself safe.
I think that comes from the fact that it's the Champions Riding School. It wasn't it was the Freddie Spencer School, but he's allowed because he was a 3-time world champion.
Right.
So then when it was, Nick Arnott, who's, a champion in his own right, he's like, no, I got this, from Freddie and I turned it into the curriculum. And it's not about me. It's about what are the best riders in the world doing. And I think it all started.
So it just he came out with that from that.
Yeah. That whole mantra of this is about the champions. And it's very quick to get humbled. So it starts with Freddie. So unless you're going to go out there and be better than Freddie Spencer, you can't show up at the school with any ego because your freaking boss is a 3-time world champion.
Right.
And then when Freddie retired and the school moved to the Yamaha school, now all of a sudden we've got Scott Russell who comes along and says, I want to be a coach for you guys. Now he's a world champion. So how the hell are you going to have an ego with, by the way, side note, the most humble person I've ever worked with in my life is Scott Russell. But you can't have an ego. And you guys, you guys could flame up my ego here. Thank you for all the compliments. But at my school, on track, I'm kind of like, I'm bottom third.
But even
our
your
instructors
guy
are so good and so winning and so accomplished, but they also know that they can go on a Moto America race weekend and get their butts kicked, or they can go overseas and get their butts kicked. So there's no reason to have an ego because there's always somebody better. Unless you are Martine right now, you can't have an ego because there's always somebody better. And that's been instilled in us since the beginning.
So there you go.
Yeah, I assure you, in other training programs, there are people there who are not champions, and yet they will. The ego
they will
and the
tell you they are.
Bullshit is there. Yeah, and yet somehow YCRS just that doesn't happen.
So, couple of questions for you, Keith. If I remember right, didn't Freddie Spencer make his name riding Hondas?
Yes.
So how did Yamaha come along?
When it was the Freddie Spencer School, it was Honda.
Right, of course. And that's, I always associate Fast Freddie on a Honda.
Yep. And when he retired, Honda said, no Freddie, no Honda.
Ah.
So Nick also partnered up with Ken Hill, he was a local NorCal guy, right?
Right.
When they started YCRS and they chased, all right, who's going to get to sponsor? At the same time, I believe it was Jamie James had the Yamaha Champions Riding School on the East Coast, but for whatever reason, it wasn't uber successful. So when they called Yamaha and things weren't going good with Jamie, or Jamie was going to get out of it, it was just a perfect timing. And they said, yes, we've always been jealous. We would love to do it. So they came on and sponsored. So it just worked out.
And what machines did they supply initially? R6s?
R6s and R6s for all the students and FZ1s for all the instructors was back in the day.
That's an interesting choice for the instructors.
Oh my God, they loved them. And now it's MT10s. The instructors fight over MT10s. They're such a good motorcycle.
Well, I'm a huge fan and always have been of the standard genre. And
me too.
FZ1's one of my favorite bikes because, it's like a freaking R1 that you sit in an armchair. It's absolutely brilliant. So, you've answered my first question, so it's just Yamaha being accommodating. It actually doesn't surprise me at all because having worked with Yamaha as a manufacturer, they are always very, very keen to get people introduced onto their bikes. But
they're also the only OEM that's doing a full national level demo program. So
right.
Thanks to the school, we got to also pick up their sport bike demo program where we have a trailer full of motorcycles and we go to 30 to 40 different track days around the country and let people try them for free.
Yeah.
And only Yamaha's doing that. I mean, some of the other companies will do a demo day here or there with their big rig right after a race weekend, but no one's doing anything. Yamaha is just thoroughly invested in the program altogether.
The most often I've tried out different bikes has been at Z2 days trying Yamahas doing one of the demo days.
Yeah.
And it's no surprise that both you and Charley ride Yamaha.
Absolutely. We love my MT-07 and Charley's Super Tenere. Our garage is only Kawasaki's and Yamaha's.
Right.
Because we just love them.
Attention, motorcycle brands. Are you listening? You get points for showing up.
Yes.
Ain't that the truth? And truthfully, Charley, if you want to pronounce your bike's name properly, you need to do the ridiculous French accent. C'est une super Tenere.
No, you said it wrong. It's super duper Tenere.
So, and this is probably going to be a question for you, Keith and Kat, so you can fight over it together. How did you two become? I mean, you're clearly friends. It obviously started off as a business arrangement. How did that start? How did this whole kind of relationship with Champ U and Leod Escape start?
I think I met Mouse before I met Cat.
That's true.
So
that's
I met
true.
The better half first, and it's been downhill ever since.
That's right.
Yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, no, Nancy went and displayed for us at an IMS show in New York, and she came back with tales of getting drunk with all of these guys from Yamaha.
We're not
Champions
just good at riding
School.
motorcycles.
But I also got invited out to New Jersey Motorsports Park by Nick Einach. He said, "Please come out." Literally, he offered me the opportunity to sit in the classroom with my little table and my little brochures.
Oh, so this is going way back, probably 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, this is like
15 or 16, I'd say.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the classroom and I'm listening to what's being taught in the classroom, as well as being available there with my little brochures and whatnot. I'm listening to it. I'm like, this is actually really good shit. And the attitude here is completely different.
Right.
And so I kept sort of pushing over the years. I said, hey, we should do something together. And eventually, I think it was we were up in Washington at the Ridge, and I showed up, and it was finally Nick and Chris just said, fuck it, let's do something. And so we've been running the track and tour together. One tour a year is dedicated to Yamaha Champions School grads. And it's an exclusive tour for them each year. And then as I started doing more with the training tour with Motorcycles and Misfits, I'm like, I've got to get these people prepared to go onto a European road. And about a year before then, that's when the Champ U program, the online training programs are released from Yamaha Champions Riding School. So I'm like, okay, I need to buy these in bulk and get them. And that's where I kept talking to Keith. I said, Keith, why don't you come out to one of our, before it was called the Trip on Our, let's come out to one of our training tours and you can see what this is and what I'm trying to bring together and why I think you would be a good part of it. And so, Keith showed up.
My 50th was during COVID. So I always wanted to do something epic, so I didn't get to. So a year later, I said, I've been drooling over these tours, Cat's tours for years, and I'm not in that tax bracket, but I gotta go. So I sold one of my motorcycles and I called Cat and I said, Cat, I want to do a tour. I just sold my motorcycle. Take my money before I spend it somewhere else, before my wife spends it for me. I'm just kidding. She's actually more frugal than I am. But the point is, take my money. I got to do one of your tours. And he said, okay, I got a better idea. I said, what? He goes, I've always wanted to do a tour that just had YCRS graduates. He goes, because when your students come, they are so much more better prepared. I don't have to worry about them. They ride well. They handle the twisties. They handle the switchbacks. Man, if we could put together a tour where it's just YCRS graduates, all you got to do is get to Europe and I got you covered. I said, shit, I can do that. So we did a press release and an email blast to all of our graduates and sold out the first Munich to Mugello YCRS tour in 9 days.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got to go and I wrote a story about it for one of the magazines and I used the word epic, I think 372 times.
And that's actually been a common denominator for all of our tours. I mean, it resonated very much with me. I'm not going to suggest I was the person who actually said we need a cheaper tour. I was certainly part of that conversation. But I kind of got the short straw, and Emma, you're going on these tours, and you've used me as bait in the past.
Yeah.
Because, you get to hang out with Miss Emma. And I make the same promise for 2025 as I've made for all the years before. You're going to have the time of your fucking life. There's nothing like these tours. Henry, I keep forgetting, Henry's been on one of these tours with me.
I've been on two.
You've been on two.
I was
So
on
Brian's
the OG.
been on two. Yeah, you've been on two. Stick your 10 cents worth in, Henry. You always have a good time. You were on the very first one.
I was on the very first one. It's a fantastic time. I did that tour before I started doing like track riding, before I started doing all this other stuff, but I had a lot of like background education myself through like taking the Road Rider Z2 course and through other education that I had pursued myself in the past. So I had a blast, and I was able to, I'm not as fast as you, Kat, but I was able to be in the fast group just fine and have a lot of fun. I got along with the bike really well, and I got along with the roads really well because we have a lot of nasty switchbacks here in the Santa Cruz Mountains where it's like, oh, coming around a corner, oh, look, there's a pothole 4 feet deep, got to avoid that all of a sudden while you're going 60 miles an hour. So I had a lot of sort of like background in this kind of stuff before going on these tours. And then on the next tour, I'd already done a couple of track days. Again, had an absolute blast with it, enjoying the scenery, enjoying a lot of things that you had to offer on these tours.
And Brian, you've got more of an adventure you've got more experience in adventure bikes, right? Or touring, bit of everything.
Road racing, supermoto, stuff like that. But I try to do everything.
Right.
But
yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting.
What do you call it? Motosexual?
Yeah, Brian's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You raced a Ninja 500 Twin, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
They're great.
They are.
That is one of the most underrated bikes you can buy right now. They are punchy bikes. I mean, it's half a Ninja 1000.
Yeah, they're good bikes.
Yeah.
In the class they fit in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you've always had a good time. You keep coming back. So, I mean, it's time for the shameless plug, and which is why we're all here.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because we have got, for 2025, we've got quite the schedule going. Now, Keith, how many of these are actually you going to be on?
I will be on the Julian Alps Trippinar this year, and I will be on the Hockenheim, Black Hills to Hockenheim.
Right.
Tour,
yeah, the track tour.
So full disclosure.
But we have other
Right.
coaches going on all of them.
Right. So full disclosure, I will probably at this stage, unless things change, I will not be on the Julian Alps one, but the Dolomites I will be on. And then
we definitely want to get you to the Pyrenees.
We're doing the Pyrenees.
You've never done the Pyrenees before.
Yes, and I know the Pyrenees quite
They're
well.
amazing.
Yes. And it's literally the Pyrenees Trippinar and the Tuscany Trippinar are back to back. There's the weeks. So literally, if you want to do two at once, literally you end one and go to this. You can do that with the Julian Alps and the Dolomites. They're back to back.
Right.
Or you can do the Pyrenees and Tuscany. They're back.
So right now it looks like, and it's very, very fluid right now, but as of right now, I will certainly be on the Dolomites trip. I will always do the Dolomites trip. I mean, it's like, that's the signature trip.
We have people coming back to do the Dolomites Trippinar again from last year, and they're just bringing friends.
Exactly. So Dolomites I'll be on, and I'm almost certain Pyrenees is going to be great. Tuscany is going to be great. So give us some dates.
All right. So the Julian Alps is the first one, and that will be June 8th to the 14th. Then it's the Dolomites, June 15th to the 21st. Then it's the Pyrenees. Now, folks haven't heard the Pyrenees. This is the mountain range that's on the border of Spain and France. Have you ever seen the Tour de France? Look at all those beautiful twisty roads they're riding up. That's where we go. So, Pyrenees trip goes in September 7th to the 13th. And then the Tuscan Trippinar, you may have heard of the area called Tuscany. Believe it or not, there's lots of little roads that connect all those beautiful hill towns, and that's where we go, September 14th to the 20th.
Beautiful time of the year to visit Tuscany.
Yes.
And it really is. absolutely gorgeous.
Shoulder season, it's not quite as touristy. We're in and out of Rome. So
right. And, I'm not going to lie, Rome is tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, you're on a group. The thing I want to stress when you go on these trips, number one, you are never alone. We would never, ever leave you alone in a strange country on a strange bike. You're always going to have
a final
with you.
pitch. A final pitch for Motorcycles and Misfits podcast listeners. You are the reason that these tours, well, we don't even call them tours, we call them tripinars because it's not really like a motorcycle tour. Think of it as like a week-long training seminar, except it's a lot more fun than training, really. Since you are the folks that started it all, we're offering a special free upgrade for the Julian Alps tour. If you go on the Julian Alps tour and see, after you book it, go ahead and let us know you're a Motorcycle and Misfits podcast listener. We will get you a free upgrade to the new GS 1300
squatty bike.
Yeah, it's better than the 1250, a shorter wheelbase. Everyone wants to ride one, and if you'll get sold on it, you'll come back and buy one. BMW needs to be paying us a percentage. But anyway, free upgrade to the new top of the line BMW.
Right. So. And I tell you what, I can vouch for that bike because I do not like 1250 GSs. I don't like 1200 GSs. They're big, they're heavy, they're awkward. I don't have as much upper body strength as a guy. They're just they're too much for me to...
Yeah, the 1300 is lighter. It's easier to use.
Yes, the 1300 I found quite agreeable. It's quite a good handling bike and it doesn't have go.
Yeah.
The only thing I found a bit disconcerting is you put your foot down at a light and the ground's right there. And now you get it up above 60 kilometers an hour. And if I'm never sure what the road surface is, traditionally I'll just put my foot down and feel the road surface. I always think it's like, in Gladiator where he feels the soil. I just like to touch the road with my toe. Well, you can't do that on a squatty bike because the bloody ground's not there anymore because your bike's so high.
Right. It's the adaptive ride height. It squats down below 20 kilometers per hour. It squats down, and then after you go above that, it sneakily rises up.
Right.
Emma, are you trying to tell us that you actually started the Rossi leg dangle before Rossi?
Oh, way before. I was doing the Rossi leg dangle in 1978.
Both legs, same time.
Yeah, both legs, same time. Exactly.
So, Kat, will the ASA be available at those trips?
The Adventure?
Yeah. No, the ASA, the automatics.
The automatics? Yeah, we do. On the Dolomites trip, I think we can get a hold of some of them.
Okay.
Right.
And truthfully, let's be clear on that automatic. It's not an automatic unless you want it to be.
Correct.
But normally it would just be, it doesn't have a clutch.
Right.
But it's not automatic unless you want it to be. I will probably always do mine as a manual shift. It's just you don't have to use the clutch. And what I think this bike is the final solution for the biggest problem that plagues you with a GS boxer engine.
Clunk.
Is it shifts like an industrial toaster.
Right.
Well, in this case, with the automatic clutch, it's smoothing it out, and it might just make this bike almost as rideable as the Multistrada V4.
Right.
Gotta love the Germans offering the final solution.
Hang on, Kat.
Yeah.
That's quite the statement.
Well,
I
let's
know how
see.
you like your multi.
I do love my multi, but granted, this was released in 2021, and finally it's still not going to have the power of the V4, but
yeah,
it's still the BMW is making progress on this model.
And just as a reminder, if you go on the Dolomites, if I'm sure the Julian Alps is the same, it's everything that BMW has to offer. If you're doing Tuscany, and
Tuscany has a broader array of machines.
Yeah.
We've got Ducatis, Moto Guzzi's available.
I was on that V1000, which I thought was thoroughly agreeable.
Yes. Well, it's a gorgeous machine.
Yeah, and it had the flappy bits that flap out.
You and your flappy bits.
Yes, the flappy bits. I like the flappy bits.
But
now
overall,
the tank opens
the
up.
most available bike to rent will be the new GS 1300.
Right. So there you have it. Yeah. So, think carefully about it. I maintained from day one, if you can afford a good used motorcycle, you can afford to go on one of my
Starting
trips.
price is $3,000.
Right. Which is,
includes bikes, hotels.
Where's our competition right now? 5, 6?
Well, nobody's doing a program like this.
Right.
And most motorcycle tours are longer. So they're harder for you to schedule with a busier schedule, and you don't need a luggage truck. We're not running one because if you know how to pack right, you don't need one.
Right.
They're also offering, they have to staff more people. We're offering, we don't have guides. We have instructors. You don't need somebody leading you around. You don't need someone holding your hand all day.
Having done both back to back last year, I really appreciated the trip in R to where you went to a wonderful location. Cat picks out like the best places. I don't want to leave, and you get to use that as a home base and go and do these amazing rides and come back to the same restaurants and the same people every time. You're not packing up, going somewhere, a different hotel 2 days later. Yeah. You're always in and out of that same home base, and I really, really appreciate it.
And it's a great hotel, lovely people. It's all the things. It really is. So, sign up for it. If you've got any questions, reach out to me. You can reach out to Kat via Leod Escapes. Happy people.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good time.
How did they get in touch with the Champion School?
Ridelikeachampion.com. That'll get you to the online or to the in-person.
And there's huge value in this school. I've actually done the Champion course twice. And I got more out of it the second time, even though it was exactly the same curriculum. It's that kind of course. And it really gets into the nuts and bolts of why you're going to crash if you are. It's really getting into the physics, the meat and potatoes of it, which was hugely valuable to me. And it's like they give you realistic techniques of this is how you can avoid this scenario.
We try to address everybody that we can. There's a class, a Champion class for new riders, never rode a motorcycle before, or maybe you just learned how to ride it and you want to understand it. Easy way to do it. The core curriculum, which is actually our 2-day champ school, put into a video format. There's a traffic survival one, which helps you handle how to deal with traffic. And now we just started one for track days. And something that you guys didn't, I was waiting to hear earlier. Kat, why did you make it mandatory after you had it optional in the first year?
Well, no, hang on.
Is there a story?
There's a story behind this, and I wouldn't want anyone to be embarrassed because that's not what we are. But let's just say we had a couple who were a little out of their depth.
Okay.
And the upshot was they were not having as good a time as they should. And we adjusted things in the end, and they actually had a great vacation. But they were a little out of their depth, and we felt had they done the course, it would have been a very different outcome.
Yeah. And was it when you mandated it for this past year? Was it much better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but also it helps people feel like they're preparing for the trip. They're, training montage, it's like, they're working on their trail braking. They're working on their vision. What's the exit point of this turn? Where do I need to look? And I
want people to do this because, ultimately we want people to have a good time. I don't want this to be a trial. I want you... When you're on the plane going back to your hometown, I want you to sit back, with a gin and tonic in the plane and say, fuck me, that was the best holiday I ever had.
But not only that you did well. You trained for it and you did well when you got there.
It's way more fun when you're good at something. I'm sorry, it's just the truth.
Right, no, and that's true. But, that standard is different for everyone.
Absolutely.
And my goal is to make you the best version of yourself that you are comfortable with. We're not going to push you into doing something you don't want to do. We're not going to get you out of your depth. We're going to explore what you're capable of and maybe shove you along a little bit. But there's something for everyone. You do not need to be an expert rider to do this trip.
No.
And you will come back a better rider.
Absolutely.
Champ U, I think, is one of the cheapest ways to immediately improve your riding. It is a constant thing that I'm recommending to my new riders as improving their skills once they're done. Not only does it have specific information on the whys you do certain things with motorcycling, but also specific exercises to then put those things into practice. I love motorcycle riding. I am a motorcycle riding nerd. I love motorcycles, but I care more about the aspects of why I do certain things and how that affects my experience on my motorcycle. And Champ U gives all of these things in very bite-sized chunks where it's easily digestible and you can get it in a way that is not very expensive to access. And motorcycle training is unfortunately often expensive for people to access. And I love it. I'm such a proponent of motorcycle training in general. And if a class is not something that you can afford, there's a really easy way to do a little bit at a time. You can do 1 or 2 videos and then go practice for a couple of days and then come back 2 weeks later and jump in again. And you can still do it all very easily without needing to do it every single day, constantly training, and then lose it all when you don't write it down.
Well, thank you. I didn't have to be here. You said it so much better than I can.
I'm a little starstruck that you're here. I'm really excited.
But the reason why you should listen to Mycah is ground zero for training. You are taking common members of the public who know nothing about nothing, and you're turning them into motorcyclists. You're ground zero, honey.
I really love the basic training, and I really love opportunities like Champion that really open it up to people improving their skills. It's a cool opportunity that is so easily accessible.
So, come on one of our trips, and if you don't, you're desperately square, and I can do nothing for you.
There's the whole thing about, Yamaha Champions Riding School says, invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here for you to get the payoff.
Yes, I say.
The best upgrade to your bike is the rider.
Ain't that the truth? And on that note, we're going to do some emails.
Yeah.
All right.
Henry, what do you got?
I've got one from Kevin out in Dayton, Nevada.
Hey,
Hello, Kevin.
Oi, Kevin.
What? Hey.
Kevin is from Nevada, not Australia.
Yeah, you understand. He should be thankful he lives in Nevada, because if you're named Kevin in Australia, it's very unfortunate.
Yes, anyway.
So Kevin writes in, hello, brilliant podcast, just found it. I'm thinking you may be able to help with something. I want to make a kegerator out of an early 20th century icebox, and I'm wanting a clapped out multi-cylinder air-cooled motorcycle engine. The plan is to have the beer taps come from the exhaust port. I'll pay for shipping or come get it out in Dayton, Nevada. Can I see if y'all or any of your minions who happen to be listening have something non-salvageable but can be aesthetically salvaged? Kevin.
What's your recommendation for an engine, Emma, for this job?
Oh, cheap as chips, Suzuki GSs. There's tons, not Gixxers, the old air-cooled GSs. There's tons out there. There's tons that'll never run again. You can probably $50-$100 get just this disgusting GS 550 that'll never run again, but it's quite a pretty engine, and you can make a kegerator out of it. I like the sound of that. What do you think of that, Brian?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, there you are.
This is a picture of a bar in Barcelona, and the tap is an R1 engine with the beers, 4 different beers coming out of the exhaust ports.
There you go.
See? Barcelona. Incredibly civilized people, the Spaniards.
They love motorcycles.
Johnny.
Alrighty.
Have you got 2?
No, those are bagels.
All right, then.
So this is from Jeremy.
Oh, our friend Jeremy, or another Jeremy.
Jeremy Morse.
Oh, okay. Very good.
This week, Miss Emma asked what your listeners are working on, and I realized I needed to get my ass into gear, as my mom would say.
Yes, you do,
Last winter, I decided my workshop would never be done. My other projects will be finished, and life is short. So I began a long-awaited CB350 cafe project.
Nice!
Oh, lovely.
I purchased the engine and frame during college in 2010 for a mere $75. I could afford not to buy it. I couldn't afford not to buy it. Over the years, I've gathered many more parts, but other bikes took priority, and of course, life has a tendency to happen as well. So last winter, I stripped the frame, began taking apart the engine, dropped the cylinder, and head off with a local machinist, did lots of research, and made lots of plans. And that's about as far as I got before spring came and things got busy. Emma's query made me feel a little ashamed of myself. Now I'm getting back to it. My 350 Cafe won't be too radical, partly because I possess no fabrication skills and because I want it to be fairly tame and rideable. Once the engine is back together, I'll paint the frame something cool like blue or silver, not sure yet. I might go with one of those cool McCuney carb kits with pod filters. I have a CL350 head pipes. We'll probably adapt a simple reverse cone muffler onto them. I found some CBR rear sets that look like they will bolt right up to the passenger peg bracket. So I'm deciding on handlebars. I love this Superbike style bars and have a set on my CB504 that suits my long arms and looks great. I doubt I'll finish my 350 Cafe this season, but I'll chip away at it when I can get an hour or two of shop time here and there. My Ducati ST2 will need a thermostat and a battery and who knows what else. But luckily, my Enfield 650 should be good to go. And of course, my MG Midget needs a few things.
Oh, we call those giblets, darling.
Of course it does.
Giblets.
Finally, I do have a tech question for my 350 Cafe. I am polishing the engine side covers and other parts. While I understand that polishing process and have managed to make my 504 engine look pretty good, I'm not sure how to maintain that polished finish. My 504 starts to look dull, and every few years I need to start from scratch and go through the whole process again. Is there a better way?
Well, if you're doing it every few years, you're not doing badly, sweetie. Unfortunately, there isn't. You know, years and years ago, there was a guy in California who invented this shit called Zoop Seal.
I remember that. Yeah.
Zoop Seal. And Zoop Seal was a very thin coating that you put over polished aluminium, and it stopped it getting tarnished. Well, I mean, I looked for it about 6 months ago, and it seems it's been lost to time. So if you're only having to redo it every few years, you're not doing badly. What I find with aluminum is once you get it up to a nice shine, if you take one of those blue scrubby brushes that your mum or your girlfriend, wife, or your daughter uses to do the dishes, and you got to pinch it, you know, otherwise it won't be as good. So pinch the one from the sink and then get some nice metal polish like Maguire's or Mother's and just, you know, work at it. You can usually get a shine back. I mean, the better you get them, the easier they're going to be to maintain. But there's no magic bullet for aluminium, unfortunately. You know, the manufacturers knew it. They used to clear coat it back in the day.
So you can't lacquer it like brass or something?
No, and I mean, you know, they used to. But of course, you know, certainly in England where they lay the salt down, your casings, the clear coat on the cases last about 2 weeks. And, you know, you'd buy this glorious looking thing like a CB900 or a GS1000, and it'd look absolutely fantastic when you left the showroom. And then you see it 2 weeks later and it's like, oh my God, that thing looks like a sack of shit because, you know, the salt's torn all the clear coat off.
Right.
You know, nothing really wants to stick to aluminum. Therein lies the problem. So there we have it. But I want to talk a little about the cafe culture because I don't want Jeremy saying, oh, you know, you know, I haven't got that many skills. If we were to get in a time machine and go back to the birth of cafe racer culture, early 1960s England, these bikes were not being built in shops or factories or proper workshops. They were being built in people's sheds with limited tools, with limited skills, and with whatever they had to hand.
Often 10 beers or so.
Exactly. And the purest form of cafe racer, in my opinion, is one that you create yourself with the skills you have. And there's no formula. You know, it's very easy. Oh, you've got to have this seat. You've got to have this tank. You've got to have these handlebars. Otherwise, it won't be right. Horse shit. You use whatever you've got and you build it in your vision. And that's the purest form of cafe racer because that's how they were back in the day.
So you're giving him license to have a little bit of personality with this bike.
Right. You know, Jeremy's bike's going to be Jeremy's bike and it's going to be a vision of him. And it's gone beyond Honda horsepower. Now it's got Jeremy horsepower because he's building the engine. It's going to be brilliant. And it's going to be his bike.
Send us a photo.
Yeah, I want to see a finished photo. Mycah, what do you got?
So this is from Lorenzo in SoCal.
Oh, Lorenzo. Ciao, Bella.
He says, good morning, Motorcycles and Misfits. I wanted to say it was a pleasure meeting Miss Emma at the One Motorcycle Show this evening, and I'm thankful for the stickers. I'm sorry I couldn't meet the rest of the group, but hopefully I'll be able to make my way up to the garage sometime this year to take a visit.
Oh, I hope you can. I remember Lorenzo. He was a very good egg.
Awesome. He says, I wanted to ask Miss Liza if she had any advice for her challenge, since I've only ever done bolt-on accessories to my bikes for her Shadow 500 challenge. Thank you so much for the podcast and everything you do. I hope you have an amazing rest of the year. Sincerely, Lorenzo from SoCal.
Oh, what a lovely email. And yeah, I met Lorenzo. We should next week, we should do a dedicated show to the One Show and AIM Expo in Las Vegas, because that's where we were. And I ran into Lorenzo outside. I think people were setting about a car with a large hammer at the time, which is fairly typical one show behavior. But a very good egg. No, I mean, we're going to keep this 500 Shadow challenge pretty fast and loose. You know, the 500 Shadow is not a good looking bike. Everything you do to it is going to improve things. So just do what you want with it.
Push it down a hill.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Exactly. So just, again, build it in your vision. And this is the true essence of motorcycling. Build it in your vision with whatever skills and stuff you've got. Dima, what do you got?
I got Jason in Seattle. So that's Six Bike Garage.
Jason from Seattle.
Jason in Seattle, Six Bike Garage.
Da, comrade.
Hello, Misfits. It's been a bit since I've added to your inbox, but as an unofficial, self-proclaimed misfit myself, I've decided it's time to touch base again. First of all, I'm excited to say that I'll be coming down to Portland for my first One Moto Show experience this May.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Show of hands. Anybody here going to go to the One Show in Portland?
I may be there.
I'm hoping to.
What do you mean you may be there?
I'm going to probably go. I haven't
So,
bought
I'm
any
thinking about it,
tickets.
If anybody wants to ride with me in King Kong, I'll take the GS850 out. So that's something to think about. Ooh.
Tempting.
That might mean an overnight stay in
Reading.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no. Take the coastal road. Stay out of Reading. Never stop in Reading.
It takes
Wow.
forever, though.
They have an In-N-Out
Anywhere
there.
else.
But
You can stay at my
I'll let
house.
my traveling companion be the big spoon.
About the ride, not the distance.
I was thinking about taking an airplane.
Anyway, carry on.
Second, I don't know if you'll remember my email about the 61 Harley Super 10 I was working on.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I'd found some rings from a compressor on eBay that I ordered from Germany. I was unable to find any other option, so I ran with the compressor rings when I put the engine back together. This last weekend, I finally got over my fear of failure, quit dragging my feet, and finished putting the reassembled engine back into the frame. I'm thrilled to report that for the first time in what I assume is 40 years, it started and ran for the first time on Saturday.
All right.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
I still need to put the rest of it back together and dial in the carburation before the first test ride, but it runs, and that is a big relief. Cheers,
All
Jason
right.
in Seattle.
Congratulations.
Big smiles when he gets that
There's
engine going.
nothing better than hearing that engine's voice for the first time. Because I've built so many bikes, and I don't even know what the fucking things sound like. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Oh, I didn't expect it to sound like that. It's great.
You know, I've been watching a show on it's on Max, I think, but it's what's called Roadworthy Rescues. Everybody seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Oh man, the guy, he finds these things in the field that's been sitting there for 40 years, and he gets them running like right there in the field,
Wow.
and then takes them somewhere and kind of they don't do a full resto. He just gets them on the road again, and it's really kind of cool.
It's a cool show, and I mean, it's kind of what we're doing with bikes.
Exactly.
Charlie, what do you got?
I've got something from Carlos. Carlos?
Carles or Carlos?
No, Carlos.
Carlos.
His car is lost.
Well, hello in my best Miss Emma voice.
Oh, hello, darling.
Okay, enough of that for now. Howdy, my name's Carlos. Pronounce if you don't have a car.
Okay.
I am Carless.
Okay, got it now.
I'm what you would call. I live from what you would call the buckle of the Bible Belt, right here in southeast Oklahoma.
Do you think he'd rather be an Okie from Muskoking? I'm sure he would.
I live in an area with beautiful mountains to ride in, as well as long, flat, straight roads, if that's what you want.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I've been riding most of my adult life. I have owned a couple of Hondas, a Yamaha, a few Harley Davidsons. I currently have a 2011 Road Glide in Sedona Orange, a 21 Pan American Baja Orange, and an 05 1100 Shadow. I want to do something with the Shadow soon, maybe strip it down without fenders and add some motocross style bars or something. Still trying to decide, but recent episode I listened has inspired me to do something with it. Liza was talking about the Shadow 500, and it pulled at my heartstrings, as my first bike was the 500 Shadow. I went to a friend's house and gave him the money for it and rode it around the block. This was my first time I rode a motorcycle more than 100 feet. I then figured it out and rode 30 miles home through heavy traffic. It worked out.
Cool.
I only scared myself a couple of times. I look forward to listening to the podcast each week and love to hear about Santa Cruz. A couple of years ago, I was there and traveled down Highway 1 from San Francisco to Morro Bay. Overall, I spent about 10 days on the coast, and as much as I believed I didn't care anything about the craziness in California, sorry, that's what I was taught, I was wrong. It is one of the most beautiful places I have been, and the folks I met were wonderful. I stuck. You say he stuck out. I really want to load up the Pan America and head that way soon and see more of the West Coast and the things between here and there. Thank you for what you guys do and the way you support the community. I wish those things would fly more everywhere. Hopefully, I'll be sending pics of my Shadow mods soon. And if I do get to make the track, I hope to stop by and say howdy, y'all. Carlos, call.
What a lovely email,
Yeah.
Carlos. And California.
Left Coast, baby. Love it.
Yeah. Beautiful place, beautiful people. What say you, Keith? You're a transplant from the East Coast.
I am. When I first moved here, we did the press launch for Moto America, and the Umbrella Girls, the modeling agency. The owner, Ann, was there with a bunch of models. They sat down with lunch, and she said, "So I heard you just moved to California. What do you think?" I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so great. I'm riding my motorcycle all year long. I don't have to winterize. I don't have to put away. I don't have to put stabilizer in my fuel. If I walk my dog in June or January, the only difference is slippers or flip-flops. Otherwise, it's the same exact outfit." She goes, "And what do you think of the people?" And I went, and she goes, "Let me help you." She goes, "I'm from here. I can say this. We have our heads so far up our asses, we don't know what's going on outside of the 3-foot bubble around us." And then she hesitated and she goes, "And just being here is worth every minute of it."
You heard it here, folks. Well, I'm going to do mine and then we'll do... Actually, no. Let's
Bagel's
do
got
Bagel.
2. Yeah.
You got 2?
I do.
You better get cracking then.
All right. Well, I have an email here from Steve.
Steve? Where's Steve from?
He writes, "Greetings, misfits, from a very nippy Sutton Coldfield."
Oh, you know what to do, Bagel.
Yes.
I grew up in Sutton Coldfield.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, go on.
Bit slow to the party on this one, but I was reminded of the episode a few weeks ago discussing...
God, it's like you're there. It's like you're there. Carry on, Bagel.
But I was reminded of the episode from a few weeks ago discussing all-round riders the other day while talking to my dad about his old friend Arthur Browning, whose name I am sure the lovely Miss Emma will be familiar with.
Oh, I am very familiar with Arthur Browning.
As he's from Great Bar in Birmingham.
Yes.
Arthur was an all-rounder competing in speedway, scrambles, trials, motocross, grass track, and road racing, and also a legend at Marley Hill Climb. You may have to Google it. He still rides trials and rode at the ripe age of 80.
Nice.
Oh, and he was also the bike rider / stuntman for Milk Tray Chocolates TV advert. Keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Steve! From Sutton Coldfield, UK.
So, couple of things going on here. So, Milk Tray, you won't know anything about this. So, Milk Tray was a very upmarket brand of boxed, like candies that you'd give to your sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
And they had these epic ads on, which were kind of James Bondish.
It was called Milk Tray?
Yeah, Milk Tray, because they're all milk chocolates, not plain. We didn't do... Yes, I know. Don't curl your lip.
Well, no. I actually like the chocolate. Just like That's the name they came up with.
Well,
And
milk
they're
tray.
so good, you have to serve them on a tray.
Yes,
Okay.
but nevertheless,
right.
they had this very clever advertising campaign. It was kind of James Bondish, whereas the hero would be in a very dangerous situation, and he'd be like driving an XKE over a washed-out bridge or riding a motorcycle or something like that, and then he'd sneak into this woman's bedroom, and instead of banging her, he'd just leave a box of chocolates on a bedside table with like a James Bond card. Very clever advertising. It was like, all because the lady loves milk tray, you see, was the catchline. It was very good indeed. And obviously Steve remembers it. And this guy was, he was a very accomplished motorcycle racer. The Midlands has produced quite a few famous people, some of which I will list in next week's podcast. But I will reach that next week. Are you gonna read the other one, Bagel? Because you had two.
Would you like me to?
Oh, I'd love you to.
It's a long one.
Don't let me stop you.
All right.
You want to see how you do this one, Bagel?
Now this is
You pre-read it, I guess.
Yeah.
I did. Now there are a few ways I could go with this one,
Bagel, quit blubbering.
but he's all right. He's a passionate man, so I must read it in a passionate voice.
Oh, no.
Greetings from the rainy and gloomy Netherlands. My name is George. I am a Greek guy living in the Netherlands in love with fixing up and correcting old, not necessarily classic, motorcycles.
Oh, I like him already.
I have been a Patreon subscriber whenever times allowed me to be, and I always listen to you when times were hard. Motorcycles have been in my life ever since I was a kid. But in Greece, things were tough with the economic crisis. Needing to do 2 jobs to survive growing up never left space for luxury things and extras. Back then, I was driving a used 2007 V-Strom 650 daily, summer and winter, putting more than 95,000 kilometers in everyday use. I am 35, living in the Netherlands for 6 years now. Here, I started buying old motorcycles, neglected, or in boxes as projects gone wrong. I have never felt more happy, calm, and satisfied. Putting a motorcycle back together in its original form, as close to original as possible, makes me feel like I am doing right by the motorcycle itself. The absolute high of taking the weird, irrelevant parts off and putting on what really should be there is giving me and the motorcycle new life. Cleaning up and reviving a part that has been neglected for 40 years does it justice. I know it is a very romantic view, but that is what it feels like to me. My daughter, 3 years old, is also always helping. I am in love with the process and the accuracy needed for the mechanical and for the aesthetical. Until now, I have brought down to bare frame, restored, repaired, and painted back to as close as possible original condition, a few motorcycles, and then passed them on to the next person to love them. Among them, a Honda CX500 Custom, 1981, a Kawasaki KZ305, 1981, a Kawasaki GPZ1000RX, 1987. What a machine, and what a dinosaur. A Honda CX500 of 1978, and others. It is a time-consuming thing, and with 2 kids and a beautiful wife, time is a rare commodity. The same with space, which I don't really have a lot of. I wanted to ask Miss Emma, but also all the misfits there, how easy is it to actually do this as a job and live from it? Until now, I don't really make money from it. If you calculate parts, fasteners, expendables, tires, and painting supplies, nothing is left. When I try to go higher in price, the motorcycle will stay unsold. How can I make this dream come true? Can I? George, the Greek guy.
Right. So I'm going to address a couple of things here. So George has included some pictures, and he's selling himself a little short here because, God almighty, these bikes are beautiful.
They look really nice.
Don't they indeed? I mean, the GPZ, he's included a picture of his child.
Yeah.
Child.
She's for sale as well.
Well, but I'm going to be absolutely straight with you. Because I do a lot of restorations at my shop. And if you factor in the time, the parts, the import duties, which are about to get a lot higher, there's no money in restorations and never will be. The number one thing I use to make money at my shop is my tire machine. If my tire machine breaks down, I don't make money. And it's a horrible thing to admit because changing tires is hard work. I mean, this is basically why I'm built like a brick shithouse. It's soul destroying. It's just the absolute basic of working on a motorcycle, but it's a great money spinner. And the way I look at it, the money I make switching tires and doing oil changes and doing chain service, the very, very basic stuff, allows me to do the things I enjoy doing, which is engine building and which is restoring bikes. So my advice to you, George, you clearly have a great love of motorcycling and you're clearly very good at it, but you have found out what all of us have found out. There's no money in restoration, but there is money in repairing bikes. So prostitute yourself out, mount those tires, change that oil, do the basic stuff, make money doing that, and then that's going to allow you some leeway to make money restoring bikes. And you can use your restored bikes as leverage. I still get people come down to Motortown and they look me up and down and say, well, what the hell does a 63-year-old woman know about fixing bikes? And I'll point to my Trident or something I've restored and I'll say, well, quite a bloody lot, actually. And so you can use your restored bikes as proof of your ability. But the money in motorcycling, repairing them, is very, very basic. Meat and potatoes work on them. Tire changes, oil changes, servicing, chain service, brake service. This is where money's to be made, not from restoration.
The only way to become a millionaire by motorcycling is start as a billionaire.
That's the one.
Emma, since I just wanted to let you know, as a listener in the last couple months, listening to all your motorcycle knowledge, all the shit that you know about motorcycles, years and horsepowers and the diaphragms in a CV carb on a 71 CV350, it's just impressive. So,
thank you, darling.
Amazing to
well,
listen to.
I mean, the thing is with me, I'm not a great wrench. I'm a very, very good, solid wrench. I'm tenacious, but I've been doing it for such a long time. And if you throw enough shit at something, after 47 years, some of it's going to stick. And even after so long, even after being doing this job for nearly 50 years, I still learn something new every day. Because the thing is, motorcycles are very different to cars. A car looks the same and behaves the same whether somebody's in it or not. A car's a car. A motorcycle comes alive when you put somebody on it. It looks different, it sounds different, it behaves different. And when you introduce the human element into anything, all bets are off. The parts wear differently. The bike rides differently. You can have two bikes that go down the production line one after another, and they're identical machines. That bike was owned by Joe. That bike was owned by Frank. 6 months later, they're completely different bikes. Completely.
Yeah.
And, that's why, because each rider wears the individual components of their bike. And so there's always something to learn. You talk about humility. And it's the same in the motorcycle industry. If you are arrogant and cocksure of yourself, when you actually start fixing bikes for a living, it'll slap you down right quick. Humility and being a little bit humble and understanding that all people really want is their bikes to be fixed correctly at a fair price. That's how I run my business, and that's how most everyone I know in the industry now runs their business. It wasn't like that 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There were all kinds of people out there who's like, give me your money right quick and do as little as possible. Well, thankfully, all those people are gone now. Mycah says the only way to be a millionaire in the motorcycle industry is start with $1 million. So who's left? The enthusiasts, the people who carry it in their heart, like George. And these restorations are beautiful. So carry on with what you're doing. But understand, George, that's not where you make your money. You make your money from mounting those tires, changing that oil, doing the basic stuff. And on that note, I had an email, and I'm going to save it till next week because I can do that because it's my show. I think it's really time to get out of here. Thank you all listeners for sticking with us for another 2 hours. Liza will be back next week, and we're going to have a little talk about the AM Expo because lots of interesting things to talk about. We're going to talk about the one show. Thank you, as always, to our Patreon subscribers who are easily the finest specimens for humanity, known to humanity. Anything you want to add, John? How do people find us, darling? How do people find us?
Well, you can find us on our social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. There's a Discord server. If you look in the show notes, you can find all the links to that. You can come by the garage on a Sunday. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, please do. You know, I always love having visitors here.
So and you can email us at... I forgot the email address. It's on the show notes.
Motorcyclesandmisfits at
gmail.com.
Yes!
The new guy.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, well, no, he's been stalking us. You've been stalking us for the last few weeks.
And one of the things we forgot to say was we've got a ton of gear here. So if anybody needs gear, please come on a Sunday and pick some gear. But we also are offering, Liza's generously offering anybody from the Palisades fire or from any of the natural disasters in North Carolina need gear because your gear was burned up, then let us know and we will ship it to you for free.
Yeah, and I want to make that clear. If you lost your gear, you send us an email with your sizes.
Yep.
And we're going to send you this stuff for free.
And what you need, what kind of riding you're doing.
What kind of riding you're doing, what you need, and we'll send it to you. Because it's a lot of people lost their stuff and it's just so disheartening. And being able to get yourself back on a bike and ride, it'll really help you get your head together. So anything we can do to help that happen, we have got a ton of gear. Keith brought us a lot of gear today. We really have a ton of this stuff and we want to give it away. So if you're local, and by local, I mean if you're in California or even Nevada, come on over to the garage. Hang out with us on a Sunday. You had a fun time, didn't you, Keith?
I had a blast. I got to say a thank you to Liza for letting me ride her Mycah today. I got here a little early, and Brian brought his GS, and he said, let's go for a ride. And Miss Emma pulled the Mycah out, they set the tire pressures, and we went out for a couple hours in the mountains.
You had a groovy time.
Oh, yeah.
So the garage is a fun place to hang out. Hang out, get some gear. If you lost your gear in North Carolina or the Palisades, let us know what you need. We will send you gear.
Or Altadena.
Yeah. Or Altadena.
Yep.
So please reach out. And on that note...
And we got to thank our Patreon subscribers.
I already did.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Well, let's thank them again.
No.
Okay,
no, we thank them one time.
Good people.
And that's all you're going to get.
Sorry about that.
We are just so grateful. So I think it's time to get out of here. Brian, are you paying attention, sweetie? You know what's going to happen.
Yep.
It's time to get out of here.
Cool.
No. This is Brian.
Oh, yeah. This is Brian. Henry.
Emma, darling.
Stumpy John.
Mycah.
New guy Keith.
Dima.
Charley.
Cat.
Bagel.
And we are out of here. Cool.